You're taught that you want to not use your right hand at all. So you need to be able to make that decision at the very last moment. Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. So I was scrolling through YouTube and I found this video here. I tried samurai training with a real samurai, and the title, I was just like really interested in just watching this video, just reading the title, and it seems there's been a few million people watching this video. And the people who are featured in this video, I've seen them before. They're great sword actors, I believe, katana actors, and I just really wanted to take a look at what kind of training they were providing to this very famous YouTuber here. So I'm going to be taking a look at this video and reacting to what they're going to be doing. それでは本日も参りましょう。So here we go. I tried samurai training with a real samurai. Let's start taking a look at this video here.
Samurais are one of the most ancient group of warriors that mastered one of the deadliest weapons in the world, the sword. Now, I've always wondered what it takes to become a samurai.
So today I will have 24 hours to train before going head-to-head with a real-life samurai.
Wish me luck.
This is fiction.
Awesome.
They are real modern-day samurai. They are going to be the ones training me today.
Awesome. So his name is Fiction and Toru, right? Toru, I actually have been exchanging DMs a couple of times. I've been watching both of them, videos and such, their acting, their performances and such, in some events. And to be honest, I am huge fans, especially Fiction. His videos with like mini katana and such, they are just so cool. This way he, shows himself, the movement he does with the katanas, with all the other actors and martial artists and such, amazing content it makes. And along with Toru too, of course. So I first of all want to say I'm huge fans of both of them.
They are real modern-day samurai. They are going to be the ones training me today. First thing first, you need to look the part.
Oh, he's gonna get dressed
So
up.
I brought kimono here, and obi, and hakama.
Is it easy to put on?
No.
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 This isn't that complicated.
Looking good. You look like someone in Japanese hotel.
So the kimono was pretty straightforward to put on, but everything else was a little bit more complicated.
This one goes over 3 times.
How to tie the obi.
This is like almost like a skirt-looking pants.
Can I just step into this?
Pretty much. Yes.
It turns out this was even harder to put on.
Turn over, rotate.
Toru's more of the traditional samurai. I'm more of the street samurai.
This looks good on you though.
It looks amazing.
Samurai.
You should wear this every day.
But after around 30 minutes, I was finally looking like a samurai.
Okay.
30
didn't take
minutes.
any time
That's
at
a lot of time.
Not at all.
Now that I looked the part, it was time to start my training.
Samurais are
So let me stop it right there. This could be okay too, putting on the kimono and such, but as you see me having this blue thing right here, this is called the juban, which is actually the underclothes that you have under the kimono. If you wanted to really look the part, you would have to have the juban, actually, not just the kimono, obi, and the hakama. So I think Toru here has the juban on, I believe. It has a really similar color actually to the one that I have right on. Having like him with the shirt inside showing like that wouldn't be so appropriate unless you're like wearing a dogi specifically for training Budo. If it's just like a regular training that you're doing, having like your inner shirt showing up a little bit during the training when it moves a little bit around, but from the beginning, have your inner shirt shown like this, I don't think many senseis in Japan who teach Budo would be very happy about that. And the hakama, by the way, is something that in the past only samurai were allowed to wear. So hakama is something that you absolutely have to put on if you want to train Japanese Budo martial arts. Of course, in the beginning, when you still don't have the training gear and you're just trying to experience what it's like, trying it out and such, it's totally fine. But in the long run, hakama is a part of the official attire of training with katanas and such. And in the past, if you're a samurai, you have to wear these. And it was basically a privilege to wear these hakamas and having your katana on your waist. So putting on the hakama, from my point of view, is a must.
Now that I looked the part, it was time to start
He's
my
gonna start
training.
training.
Samurais
Here,
are
right?
known for having a very specific weapon.
Yeah.
A sword or katana.
Wow. Where's mine?
Ooh,
Let me get it
the
for you.
katana.
What's that?
There you go.
This is a wooden sword, guys.
Ah,
You
yes,
don't
the wooden
use a
one
finger
first.
while learning how to do things properly. Or
Just-
Right hand on top, left side, bottom.
Yep.
And then your
Right hand,
power
left hand,
should
yeah.
be on like pinky finger or ring finger.
the tip of your blade, you always want to point it
True,
towards
true.
the throat of your opponent. Yes.
Why specifically the throat?
If you cut throat, That's it, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, let me stop you there right too. They explained that you should keep the tip of the katana pointing towards the throat. Now, this depends on which Ryuha style you belong to. Some Ryuha styles do teach you that you keep the tip towards the opponent's throat, like this. But in the 3 Ryuha styles that I belong to, they teach you, we call this the basic stance with your right foot forward and such. We call this the Seigan stance. We keep the tip towards the opponent's eyes. And he explained to you if it's pointing towards the throat, you can cut the throat. The same thing though, if you keep the tip towards the opponent's eyes, it makes it much more difficult for the opponent to guess how long the katana is. Yes, and of course if you keep it towards the eyes, there's a lot of techniques that can start from there. So that just depends on different styles. It's not always the throat that you want to point the katana to. It's really up to the style that you belong in. Then next.
It's the sharpest part of the sword.
Swing
So
katana.
instead of holding really intensely and swing, but relax, just focus on here lightly and swing. Nice. Right now you see it when you finish swinging, it's lovely, right?
Yeah.
But you wanna like really stop here. Yeah.
How do you stop the recoil?
Especially when you finish swinging, that's when you wanna squeeze your sword a little bit.
That's better. Okay, I feel that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's try.
Let me stop it there again. First of all, it's important that I think I made a video once with Six Sensei talking about having the towel on the katana and swinging it and throwing the towel forward and seeing if your swing is properly done or not. If it was an uchi katana, I have one right here. If it was an uchi katana, this part of the blade, yes, it's called the monouchi. Monouchi literally means hitting objects, basically. So monouchi is the part of the katana that you mainly use for cutting objects. But of course, if you continue training martial arts like in Budo and such, you learn the techniques to use every part of the katana to fight, but this is the first and most important part that you need to be able to use when you swing katanas. So that is correct, but one thing Toru mentioned about how to stop the katana from wobbling after the swing, and he talked a little bit about squeezing it stronger. From what I have learned in the past through Kobudo and Budo martial arts and such, that would be incorrect. And that is because if you grip the moment you stop your katana, you can't do the next movement. Like for example, in Asayama Ichiden Ryu that I train in, there are a lot of techniques where you swing down and then immediately turn the katana and swing up after that, like what I did right now. So you swing down, and with the energy of swinging down, you let the katana flip over, and then you swing up for a second attack immediately. If you grip hard after the swing, when the swing stops, you can't do anything else. What if you miss that first attack and you need to parry immediately? If you grip strong at the end of a swing, it takes more time, extra energy for you to move and block or move on to the second attack and such, right? So if I were told to, I wouldn't explain it that way. How you stop a katana from wobbling at the end is, it's all about using your back muscles and your feet to swing the katana. In Iai, you're taught that ultimately you need to swing your katana with the bottom of your feet. That means you need to use your whole body to do the swing. So the more you try to swing with your arms, you tend to wobble like this. But the more you try to not relax your arms, relax your shoulders, and use your back muscles and your feet to swing, then you don't need that much power in your hands, then your back muscles will stop the swing for you like this. So it's not much about gripping stronger, but it's more about trying to use your back muscles, focus on your back muscles, and relax your hands. Then the katana comes to a natural stop.
Now let's try kesagiri, which is
kesahat.
diagonal.
Along the line here.
Nice.
And then let's switch to left side. So feet together.
Yep.
Pull your right leg behind and cut left diagonal.
Okay, the other way.
Now, even though these moves may look easy, I need to make sure I perfect these for my final battle against a real samurai at the end of the video.
You can graduate from wooden sword and
Oh, he's gonna graduate now?
practice sword.
Cool.
Nice.
Take that.
Here you go.
Okay. Now
Oh, yep.
this way.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
You have the sharp edge of the
Oh, it looks very real.
But it's not sharp, so you can't really cut it.
So how do I put it in?
So
This is training
Holy
katana.
cow, this is way
the
different.
blade has to be facing up.
Exactly.
You don't cut yourself on the way out?
Well, not if you use the right technique.
Okay, that
yes,
makes
which is what we're gonna practice. You have your basic unsheath.
So I'm here, and it's this.
Nice. And down. Woo! Yes, sir.
But sword is pretty long, so if you try to just use right hand, it becomes like this.
Yeah, I
right?
felt that.
You want to pull it once, and then
Yes.
use also left hand to pull this side up, which is
Pull it back. That's right.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yes, yes. For the drawing, this is something that a lot of people tend to misunderstand. That drawing and sheathing katana both is all about your right hand. That you have to put your right hand here and then pull the katana all the way out with your right hand. But no, drawing and sheathing, both, they're going to be talking about the sheathing from here, but both drawing and sheathing are really all about the left hand that controls the scabbard. Like the Ryuha styles that I belong in, you're taught that you want to not use your right hand at all as possible to do the draw as much as possible, just with your left hand and also by the turning of your waist. And that's because only your right hand can decide which way the katana is going to be facing. If it either is going to be an uppercut, it's going to go horizontally, if it's going to be a vertical cut down or up and such, only your right hand can decide. So you need to be able to make that decision at the very last moment. If you are already using your right hand to do the drawing, you can't suddenly change the direction of your movements, right? So that's the reason why everything else you want to do as much as possible with your left hand so that your right hand has all the possibilities of doing these different attacks and blocks and such. It's really important that when you first learn how to do the drawing and sheathing and such, that you really focus on using your left hand more than your right hand.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Now, to put it back, you always perform
it's about the
shibuti
sheathing.
first if you're doing a cut.
Shibuti?
Shibuti. It's what you see samurai do when they flick off the blood after they've struck down their opponent. One of the most
Shibuti,
basic
yes.
ones is you flick it to the side. Nice. And now notice I grabbed my saya. I make a small circle around the top. Take the back of the blade, place it on top of that small circle you made. You should be able to feel the skin. As I slide this down, I'm also pulling this back. You'll see that the tip of it, when it falls into that circle, I know it's inside. So now all I have to do is bring it up the blade.
Now that I learned how to actually use a sword.
Okay. The sheathing too, yes, what he explained is correct. Again, using both of your hands to do it. But the sheathing, depending on the Ryuha style, the techniques are all very, very different. When the shiburi, first of all, most people or many people say, even in Japan too, that it's meant for flicking the blood off. But in real life, any liquid on these steel blades will not easily just flick off by swinging your arm to the side. It was mainly meant for zanshin. Zanshin means state of awareness. So even after defeating the opponent, you don't want to just immediately put your katana away. You want to be cautious that your opponent might try to attack you again. So you bring your katana, hold your katana in one hand, you keep the tip pointing towards the opponent to be cautious before you do the sheathing. Okay? And that's a concept called zanshin that exists in all Japanese Budo martial arts. And the sheathing too, he explained that you need to make a circle with the scabbard, but it's really important that you almost hide the koikuchi, we call it, the end of the scabbard. You almost hide it with your left hand. Making the hitting sound of your blade hitting the end of the koikuchi means that you're a beginner, that you haven't properly trained. So you want to completely hide it and do the sheathing. If you're holding it correctly, then even if you're holding a very edge of the scabbard, you will not cut your hand. And this is very important because if you don't have your left hand on the very end of the scabbard, you can't pull it back properly and pull it forward properly because you need to hold on to the very end to do that, right? So that's the reason why it's important that you hide the end of the koiguchi.
Now that I learned how to actually use a sword, it was time to put it to the test.
So now you have a real katana on your hip.
This is my first ever time holding a real samurai sword.
Wow. It feels heavier.
Yeah, steel usually feels heavier than wood.
All right.
So hopefully I can handle it and complete my next samurai skill, which is extremely advanced.
Today we're going to be cutting fruit out of the air.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
yes.
cool, yeah.
Fruit
So the first thing
ninja.
you'll be cutting is a watermelon. This should be pretty easy to cut. I have faith that you'll get it first try.
You believe in me?
I think so.
I will go first,
Okay.
and then after I cut one, we'll just go back and forth, see if you can keep up.
All right, sounds good.
Wow.
That was so legit.
I've never tried this before.
That was so satisfying. Sword high five.
We don't do those.
That's my thing.
What
Okay.
we're gonna do now is
don't
we're
do
gonna
those.
go smaller and smaller and smaller, and just see how much accuracy you have as a samurai. You ready?
The sound of that.
We then tried cutting a pineapple.
You tossed it and cut it.
Then a mango. Which I cut perfectly.
I cut the seed perfectly in half.
Then an apple.
Wow, it gets more and more difficult. I'm very sure I won't be able to
Proper
cut it
cutting time. If you can
properly
cut this,
like
I
this.
say you have an accuracy of a master class samurai.
That is
Perfectly in half.
amazing.
First
Very
try.
good.
That's what it takes.
Oh, first try.
After successfully cutting each piece of fruit, it was time for a real challenge that all samurais need to make.
Let me stop you there. First of all, as a Budo trainee, I've never cut fruits with a katana before, and I probably never will. So watching someone else do it was really, really fun. I'm not so confident that if I ever actually try it, the strawberries especially look really, really difficult. One thing I think you do need to understand is that they, the two, did it completely different though. Because one person, he was actually cutting from the scabbard, pulling it out and then cutting it. And then he had the katana already out of the scabbard and then cut it. So that's two completely different difficulties. So that is one thing that you do need to understand. Drawing the katana out of your scabbard and then cutting it is so much more difficult, obviously, than having the katana out already and then cutting it from there. So I think it's really amazing that he's able to cut such, those really, really small objects. But in Japan though too, I know a few people who do these, cutting fruits as like a show, as a performance and such, but many Budo senseis would probably not be very happy of you doing it. So even if you try it sometime in your backyard, I don't think showing it to everyone would be such a great idea if you really want to train Budo martial arts. And just one more thing before we move on. The sword high five thing they did with the real katana clashing it together, that was just something from my point of view as a Budo trainee, a Japanese Budo trainee and Iai and such is very, very inappropriate. Especially if you're using a real katana, clashing your blades together would damage it very badly. That would be one of the worst things that you could do. And especially if you're using someone else's katana and you're borrowing it from someone else, that would be super, super, super rude. So if you ever have a chance to come to Japan and such, and if you try any of these cuttings out and such and be like sword high five, please never even think of doing that. Please do not do that, okay?
After successfully cutting each piece of fruit, it was time for a real challenge that all samurais need to master in order to become a real samurai.
And the mats?
What they're bringing out.
It's the mats, yeah. You have to
Oh
stand
my
there,
god.
too.
What is that?
Back in the history, whenever they did test cutting, they actually used human bodies.
That's right.
But nowadays,
I love
do
that.
that. So
That
The
makes
music
sense.
stops
That
there.
makes a lot of sense. That's supposed to replicate a body part.
pretty much the texture is very similar to like your arm or your leg. So if you can cut through this, that means you might be able to cut through this.
Why me? My arm specifically. Can I see how it's cut first? Of course. Bro, this is way too legit.
Okay, they're gonna be doing test cutting.
Oh my god.
That's a leg.
Yeah, no pressure, just cutting off limbs in my front yard.
To actually cut through, stay cool, and take 2 steps back and do chiburi.
I'm gonna get too excited, I feel like. Let's go! I'm excited!
All this training we've done so far would be meaningless if I can't complete this challenge. I might have completed the accuracy and technique, but I will also need to prove that I have the power and the strength in order to become a real samurai. And if I can somehow cut this perfectly, all I ask is that you guys hit that subscribe button.
Oh, we're so
Jack, got
close!
And after a few more tries,
Too much power in your shoulders.
I did it.
Keep it cool, keep it cool. Step back. Chiburi.
Yeah! Oh my god! He knew he had it in him!
Awesome.
You have graduated.
Take this, hang it on your wall.
My first limb. Wow.
First
okay,
limb.
that was awesome.
Okay, so let's stop it there. The full-size mats that they were cutting, the rolled up tatami mats, the traditional flooring in Japan, in my dojo where I train, we usually say it's about a bicep, without the bone, by the way. If you want the bone to be in there, you would have to have a bamboo in the middle, and that would be almost exactly the same as a human arm. And the cutting he did, he failed in the first few cuts, right? There's a couple of things that the reason why that happened is, number one is putting too much power on your shoulders. His shoulders were completely shrugged like this, and his swing, unlike his training he was doing earlier, was almost like a baseball bat swing because you have something standing in front of you vertically and you think you need to cut it sideways. But the angle needs to be quite vertical, about 1 to 7 if you have a clock in front of you, the images, 1 to 7 o'clock. And another thing that a lot of beginners, like for example, the people who come to my samurai training activity tend to do is twisting their upper body. You need to keep your body facing forward as much as possible and swing only with your arms like this. If you twist your upper body, your swing goes to the side and it turns into a 2 to 9 o'clock angle, like a baseball bat swing kind of thing. So it's best that you relax your shoulders, use your back muscles, and keep your body facing forward. Those are the important things you need to keep in mind when you want to do the test cutting properly.
Finally, it was time to put everything together and try a real-life samurai fight.
No pressure.
Real life samurai fight?
First, I will have to test my samurai fighting skills against Toru, and if I somehow defeat him, I will move on to compete against Fiction for my ultimate final challenge.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
They're gonna have some choreography. Oh, I like the video. Ah, nice. Okay, so they made these for him. Oh, I need the sheet thing too. Oh no, he has face fiction. I love his style so much. How he's like standing there with his arm crossed. Yeah. He just has the katana in his hands. You can't hold me down. I just really like his style. He's so athletic too, man. Ah, I love how they end it too. Very cool.
That was sick, bro.
That is really cool.
You almost had me. I almost. But you didn't. I almost did. It was whatever.
And the video ends there. Wow, thank you so much. This was great. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. This was a very, very fun video to watch. And of course, I mean, if you're training in Budo and such, you know that you can't become a fully trained katana swordsman in just one day or a couple of hours, of course. You probably know that. I'm pretty sure a lot of you watching this video have been training in Iaido or Kendo or Kobudo and such for decades and decades of years. And I'm pretty sure you're still feeling that, oh, I still need to train. There's still a lot more that I need to study and learn and such. And I totally agree with you because I'm one of those people. I've been training for about a decade now and I feel that I haven't even got to the entrance of what katana Budo martial arts, are about. But at the same time though, what's great about katana is there's so much entertainment to it too, just doing the drawing and sheathing and cutting mats or cutting fruits or whatever is just simply really fun. So I really think that it's great that we maintain the fun parts about it, the entertaining parts about it, but at the same time though, also learn about the history and the Budo martial arts that's behind it too, because if you really want to become a samurai, you need a lot more training than that. So yeah, which is all available now, for example, through the videos that I make, for example, probably the content that they make. So it'd be great if you're interested in katana, it'd be great if you can continue to learn because no matter how much you dig, there's still more to learn about katanas. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in learning katana techniques, if you want to buy katanas, if you want to come to Kyoto and cut those mats like he was doing earlier, please, everything is inside my description box. I hope you can check it out. But everyone, I'll see you in my next video. 皆さんどうもありがとうございました。Interested in learning katana skills from 22nd Headmaster of Kobudo Asayama Ichiden Ryu 6 Sensei? We hold the best online lessons with perfect English interpretation than anyone can access worldwide. Every lesson will be recorded for you to rewatch anytime, and official down ranks will be provided to prove your progress. Higher down rank holders will also be authorized to open their own dojo in the future. Join us in our ultimate dream of reviving the golden age of Asayama Ichiden Ryu, when there were 7,000 students of the style. Check out the description box or pinned comment to sign up now and for more information.